the door, they're trying to get out. And if they were successful, guess what? They got the door open, it's all over the kitchen. It's in the bottom of the refrigerator. So that's why we can do it. Hooks right into the cabinet. So you got your switch, the connector comes up through the cabinet. So it's one short wiring harness. The door closers are recessed in the bottom of the refrigerator doors. So they set up in there. If you have to get to one, you would have to remove the door. If you were going to replace the closer, you have to remove the stop. There's 2 screws. Once those 2 screws have been removed, we have 1 screw that secures the closer to the bottom of the door. Yes? Yes. Albert. Absolutely.
When you lock in, unless you put it to a height, you want to lock it, or if the resistance is too there?
Well, you can open, once you adjust it, it should stay there, right? It should not work back down. Of course, we know how physics and everything works. You turn it after so long, there's a probability or possibility of it coming back down. The door closers, I've only seen one fail, period. If the unit is installed correctly, and the load is adjusted properly, and the door will not close, at that point it will be suspect. Right? If it doesn't pull in at that, and it's adjusted properly, slightly to the back, the load is not catching it adjusted right, you'll be good to go. To suspect that. We can replace the dispenser tube. We talked earlier about we have to pull that dispenser tube up in order to get the dispenser module out, right? So we've got to get up under the left door hinge cover. But if we're going to remove the tubing, we've got to go to the back of the unit. We've got a bulkhead that's sitting on top of the tubing. We have to remove that bulkhead. It's got 1 screw. And the dispenser tube has a John Guest finish or a quick connect that we have to release as well. Once we disconnect the quick connect, you can see right here, we've accessed the top. It's in a channel. We can just pull it straight out. And then we can pull it up through the door. Fresh food compartment, we have shelf channels on the back wall, ladder wall, and the shelves themselves have bracket hooks, so they're just simply going to sit in and lock in. And so we're with the servicer. You can move these shelves just by lifting up on them, and we do have a connector in between. It keeps them from moving independently. Talked about the ATD, the adjustable temperature drawer. One thing about that is, if you've got to unlock it, like the consumer does, well, they cannot adjust it when they want. Once it's been set, it's got to be unlocked. We'll probably get the call. Most people, they go right home, first thing they do, I'm going to read my name 3 times. Nobody, I can't go to the ball. I'm going to go shopping, I'm going to read my name. Be aware of that. In order to get to this third UI, and the sensor, and again, it's autonomous, right? So it doesn't matter where the fresh food temperature is, we've got an additional damper in that tower that is going to keep this drawer cool, depending on the input from the sensor. In order to get to that sensor, we've got to go all the way through it. We've got to remove the crystal drawers. Some people call this another drawer. We've got to remove that drawer right there. Once we remove that drawer, we've got to remove the cover. And once the cover's missing, we've got a crystal support. It just sits down. It's not attached with any screws. It just sits down in 2 slots. You take it right up. You've got it out of the way. Once we remove the drawers, we remove the cover. At that point, we have access to that drawer comes in from the left, as you can see in the slide. We've got to disconnect it in order to get that cover out. That's disconnected. If you wanted to change the UI, you can see we have a cover. It's got snaps around the perimeter of it. So you would just simply disengage those snaps, remove the cover, and you have access to the UI as well as the sensor. They come as one component. If you order the UI, you're going to get the wiring harness. You're going to get the sensor. So there's no way that you wire the sensor in or just change the UI. It's one complete assembly. The deli supports, they're held in place with one screw, and they're secured to the iron walls with shoulder bolts. So we can see the one screw at the top, that's on either side. And then once we get that one screw out, we just simply pull it forward, and we have it in our possession. Make sure you get it out of the unit. On the right-hand side, sir. Thank you. That's a great guy up there. He's always looking at everything. The left-hand support, you can see that wire that we disconnected at the front on the automatic temperature door, the adjustment temperature door. That wiring harness goes back through the support on the left-hand side. And it also has our filter head. So when we remove that one screw on the left-hand side wall, and we ease it off those shoulder bolts, at that point, we have to disengage the inlet and the outlet water tubing coming into that filter head. We also have to disconnect that wiring harness that is feeding up to where you are. Once we do that, we disconnect the wiring harness, we release the tubing. At that point, we can pull that support forward. Our filter head is attached to it with two screws we can see right here. And once we remove those two screws, we can service that filter.
Is that downstream of an isolation valve, or does the water need to shut off behind the unit before moving those water tubes?
You do not have to. You are going to have some water in the tubing. So all the valves, when you look at the schematic, valves run individually. On some of our older units, we had diodes in the circuits, right? So when we call the dispenser, we open the primary valve and the secondary valve. Right? With the ice maker cycle, we open the primary valve and the secondary valve for the ice maker. The diode's gone, right? So through the software, depending on what's called, meaning it's not going to run unless somebody's gone or the ice maker. Now, if you're in the middle of that repair and that ice maker cycles, right? I mean, it happens, right? The mechanics, the electricity's flowing, so why not the water? So, good question. And thought about it. Any other questions on that? The sensors on the right-hand side wall in the fresh food section. We've got a cover over it. It's an NTC sensor. Everybody knows what that is. Negative temperature coefficient. As the temperature goes up, the resistance goes down. So you can actually get to this sensor, right? We can test that in the test mode as well. The odds of it going bad are almost nil. If it fails, it's going to be an OP or SH, right? It's not going to be like, well, it's 2 ohms out of it.
What if we test mode give you a true temperature, or almost showing you?
It's going to give you the temperature of that sensor. So how you can test it, if you trust it, if you have a good thermometer, then we can pull it off, right? You got an IR, an infrared. We can go into the test mode, we can shoot the body or the bullet of the sensor, and they should correlate. If you're still unsure, you can get a glass of ice and water, crushed ice preferably, take that cover off that sensor, submerge that sensor, put your thermometer down in that water so you can see what the temperature is around that sensor. Go into the test mode, and you should be able to see it.
Are all sensors the same value? I mean, not value, but are they Do they have the same system chart?
They should. Aren't they the same? Yeah.
Yes.
No, they're gonna be different. You'll see that as we go through. Some of them have connectors, some of them don't. So it's on the right-hand side wall. Our air tower. You can see we have a filter right here. We've got one screw right here. We've got two screws at the base, one on the left, one on the right. It's also got locking tabs that go around the perimeter of this tower that adheres it to the rear line wall. So once we remove that upper screw and the two lower screws, at that point we would just want to simply grasp the tower around the perimeter. We would ease it out. And once it's unsnapped from the rear liner, we can turn it sideways. We have our connector, and we can pull that tower out. The tower does, again, have two dampers. So if you had a cooling issue, you don't have any codes. We have a code for the damper failing? I don't think so. It would be a high temperature
It
failure.
won't show an error code, but it will fail in diagnostic mode test.
Absolutely.
Anyway,
So if
it
you-
will function or won't function.
If you have a problem with it, you would go into the test mode. When you test it, you're not going to operate each damper individually. Right? They should both open. At the bottom, we have our air supply to the ATD, adjustable temperature control. And of course, we can fill the air at the top. If you don't have air coming out of both of those in that test mode, you know you've got a damper issue. If you have a damper issue or an airflow issue, you confirm it. It's not a wiring issue. The damper comes in the tower. Absolutely. It's the whole kit and caboodle. We've got premium LED lighting. Sir, would you like to come pull this light out? Okay. Yeah. Okay. So you can use this on a light. That's the easiest way. You can ease it out with a plastic pry tool, but you do not want to scratch the liner. You know, when I was in the field out there, Friday night, put a piece of tape all the way across. Hey, look at you. No
Hey, get an appliance repair technician up there, you heard?
You're okay. Sir, you're dismissed. Thank you for your help.
You got a part number for the suction cup, sir?
Any auto parts place would have them. Would you can pass that around? See, the latest in the lighting board, one for the assembly too. So that comes as an assembly. On the LED lighting, we have 2 on 5 in the fresh food, 2 on the left, 2 on the right, 1 in the ceiling. So it's gonna come as one assembly. If you were to step up here, you can see that the side connectors are built into the liner wall. So once you pull it off, you can do any testing that you have. It's gonna be 12 volts. And then you can take that, realign it.
Thank you, brother.
Just swap it right back in.
So your LEDs can be tested with the
Absolutely.
For
Go
VDC.
to the test mode, you can test it. Let's say one's not coming on. You're not gonna test the LED. You're gonna test to see if you have power coming to it.
Thank you, bro.
Just don't need to use your 2 inputs in the line wall. One input, one's output.
Right.
You won't get the right one, so you won't get all 3.
It'll show you that on the schematic.
So where does this?
Where's the schematic located?
Beneath it.
On the token?
Yes. Well, there's no code here,
No cookies, and the left side.
but it's up under there. And if you use that, I heard a guy say yesterday, I suggest this to everybody. If you're in a home and you pull a schematic out from a unit, please put it back.
Amen.
Because it might be you that comes back, right? Yes.
Sir, Electrolux used to give the website B2B. And when they used to give all the schematics, what happened? Now they're charging us? What can you do for us, man? You could give us a
What you're
discount.
gonna do is speak to your manager about that.
I try.
That's what you wanna do. If there's any issues on a managerial, if you've got a question on these components, call me. I'm gonna do what I can to help you. When it comes to money, you need to speak to him unless you're giving it to me, and I'll take it.
Are these running in a series?
It's kind of like series parallel. And what I mean by that, in our old units, they started on the right-hand side and they went all the way up through the top. But you can see I pulled this one. Our two lower ones are out, and we're good to go here. So, somebody broke my suction cup. I think it was already hurt anyway. If you pull the other side, pull it out. If you pull one out on the other side, thank you, Jane. Then you'll notice all the lights come on. Then the old ones, so you can see, this is a separate circuit than here on the right-hand side. You can't see this, but the lower one's still on. So these are in kind of like a series. But they're on a separate circuit than the right-hand side. On our older units, we would start on the right and just series all the way over. Everybody loves these pressure ice makers. Are y'all familiar with them? I mean, it doesn't matter, saying something else, everybody agrees. It's good ice maker.
Is that the seal system ice maker? I can't see.
Yes. So it's very similar to what we have out on the market now. Right? We have our air handler housing. In order to get to it, we've got the one screw, we've got the wire harness cover. We have to remove that one screw. Once we remove that one screw, our connectors are in the side wall now instead of right in front of the ice maker. So you can disconnect it. It makes it easier to test. If you're having an issue with the ice maker, you run it down, you go into the test mode, the ice maker tray is not turning on head you want to confirm your problem, then you can do it. It's much easier to do it from the side than it is from the top. Once we remove the connectors, we've got the wire harness cover out of the way, that ice maker is on shoulder bolts up in the air handler housing. So we're just simply going to pull it forward. And we can remove it if we need to replace it. We can do that. Once we get the ice maker out of the way, we have the air handler housing. We've got one screw holding that air handler housing. It goes in on the left-hand side into the left-hand side outer wall. It's also on shoulder bolts. So when you remove that one screw, we can remove the complete housing. And then we have access to the air handler. Everything on that air handler we can test in the test mode. We don't have to tear it down. You test it first, right? We've got 4 screws that hold that air handler in position. 2 at the top, 2 at the bottom, left and right. Once we remove those, we can pull that air handler down, and it contains our ice maker fan. It's going to have our auger motor, our toothbrush solenoid sensor. Everybody familiar with this on our units? So it's really not a lot of change. Once we remove our air handler, we have access to the ice maker evaporator and heater. We do have a thermal coming on each side of that heater. We've got a thermal on the L1 side. We've got a thermal on the neutral side. That's going to come together as well. That doesn't mean if you have to change the heaters, you got to break out your operator, right? But if you have a heater issue, for whatever reason, the first thing you want to do is find out why you got that issue with the thermal valve. And if you have to replace it, if you order those heaters, you're going to receive an evaporator. Freezer compartment, I'm showing you this right here, is that upper freezer drawer on those sides. You can see we have 2 posts. And that upper basket sits down on those two posts, right here. So if you can see the profile of this, you can see what we see right here. We have to press in those two posts at the front of those baskets. Once you press in those posts, you can lift that basket straight up, get it out of your way. The freezer has two clips holding that basket in place. We've got one on the left-hand side. You can see it's perpendicular to the basket. We've got one on the right-hand side. You have to pull those out to remove that basket. You have to get up in the freezer. You've got to remove those clips.
Make sure you let them know those clips are not pretty, they're not like easy pull out.
Now, it's always,
Those, you're gonna need somebody to pull it up, you pull it out.
it's not bad. Because from my head, right? This gentleman's seen it before. He knows about the slot. It's a slot. But if it's cold, right? I mean, if you know what I'm saying, if you're going into it, I don't know why you would have to remove it if it was cold. You wouldn't have a fan problem, right? But if it is cold, it's going to be difficult to get out. It's a little bit monotonous. Once we get the clips out of the way, we can remove it. The slides have shoulder bolts on them as well. We have two bolts on either side, 10 millimeter. If you needed to remove this freezer door, we can remove them. I mentioned the shoulder bolts because when you remove the 4 bolts, you don't have to worry about it falling. It's suspended. So once you remove it, at that point, you can pick up the door, move it to the side. Let's say if we need to get up in there to the evaporator fan, right? So we can move the drawers, we can move the door, remove it, and we can go further up into the unit. The freezer ice maker, it comes off. If you get a call from the consumer saying the freezer's not making ice, just ask them if they turned it on. It's just going to come in the off position. You do have a switch on it. If you have to remove it, you can see to the left of the switch we have a small opening. You can actually see a screw if you step up here and look. But for class purposes, right behind this, if you look up under this, the front of this, you're going to see that one screw. So your nut driver is going to go behind it if you're in front, and you can release that one screw. This ice maker's on shoulder bolts as well. Once you get that one screw out of the way, you just simply have to disconnect it, parts connected. Everybody get an opportunity to see the lens and LED light. The sensors can see in the freezer. We have a cover over that sensor. We also have an access port. You can see that light. It's where we have to remove that, pop it off with a small screwdriver. Once you do that, we have access to the screw that secures it to the line of ceiling. Once we remove that, we've got it. This one has a connector on it. That's how it's going to come. And again, it's going to show OB or SH. They're all NTC sensors. Upper and lower slides. On each side, we've got one screw that is securing these slides. These things are so easy to protect these days. They don't need duct tape or hammers anymore. Just need one little screwdriver. Easy to break down. Got one screw holding each. Once you remove those screws, these slides are on shoulder bolts as well. Got one screw's removed, that slide's going to come straight out. Very easy to access. The fan cover, once we remove the drawers, we've got a door out of the way, the ice maker's moved to the side. Get that cover off, we've got 3 screws, you can see them highlighted. Once we remove that, we can remove this evaporator cover. It has 3 speeds. Anybody want to take a guess what those speeds are? Off, low, and high. It's off as a speed.
Wow.
It's just not, it's a slow speed, you know what I mean?
Shit. Y'all taught me something.
It's not. Sorry about that. So once we get the cover off, we've got 2 screws that's holding the evaporator cover. Easy breakdown. Once we remove those 2 screws, we have access to the fan assembly. We've got 2 screws holding that as well, one on the left and one on the right. And of course, we would remove the screws, disconnect the connector, and we're good to go. These components can be tested. Did I mention the test button on this? That's one of the best things. If you've got techs in the field, they've got to be using these test sequences. It is going to facilitate, it's going to expedite the repair. It's going to help get a better, more accurate diagnosis. Some of the best tools are already waiting on you at the house. The defrost heater is a double pass, low wattage heater. It's the same as the ice maker. We've got a fusible link coming in on the L1 side. We've got a fusible link on the neutral side. That heater will run in diagnostics unless the temperature in the freezer is above 45 degrees. If it's above 45, we don't need a defrost, right? In most cases. The sensor attaches to that evaporator. It's going to initiate a defrost or cut a defrost off depending on what it's sensing and what it's feeding back to the board. That sensor goes from the evaporator through the cabinet and all the way down to the board itself. Machine compartment.
So if we need to order that sensor, is that a part? Is that?
It'd be a kit. I'm sorry? No. You would replace it on the inside. Everybody, what are you doing? I'm gonna stick this sensor in. Anyway, just paper. You're not. Still paying for this?
Yeah.
Stop.
Sorry.
I forgot about you, man. Your name?
No, I'm good money.
So, anyway, again, we can test it, right? When we go into the test mode, it's going to give us the temperature of the evaporator in this case, right? We've already got the ambient temperature from the sensor and the signal.
What's the replacement of the breaker?
I'm sorry?
What's the replacement of the breaker?
The replacement? Well, you know, if you have to get up in there, it's like any evaporator, right? You're either going to use your filters, you need some heat sink, or a lock ring, probably be easy to be a line. But as far as changing one, I think it's one of the I had a manager one time. You know, you're the owner of it. I mean, you're probably a cool manager, right? I had a cool one time. I was the E-Tech. We were in New Orleans having lunch. And he was great. He would always say, hey, man, what's on your mind? What can I do for you? He was that kind of manager. We sat down that day and he said, what can I do for you? And I said, I just cannot stand trash compactors. He said, you kidding me? That's the easiest thing to work on. I don't know if you're this school. I said, bro, tell me the secret. He said, Mark, order the parts and send them to us tech. Oh, I love this guy. Anyway, so I'm not saying that tell your text and send it to somebody else, okay? But it's gonna, you know, it's gonna have a challenge. The water valve, we talked about the electronics on it. They're all powered from the board individually. We got rid of the diodes. It supplies, these valves supply both our ice makers and the dispenser. Everything that comes from that house is filtered before it goes back to the valve. There's no water that comes into that unit that's not filtered. If it makes it to the dispenser, it's been filtered. If it makes it to the freezer or the fresh food ice maker, that water has been filtered. The fan, straightforward. You can remove the complete bracket. We can disconnect the wiring connector. We have 2 screws that hold that bracket to the floor of the machine compartment. We can see right here in this left-hand slide. Or we can just come from the back of the fan motor, disconnect the wiring, 3 screws, and we can remove it. Of course, we do have to remove the cover. Everybody familiar with inverter compressors? Everybody? I had 5 questions for the answer. Just trying to get out. We've got this inverter compressor. It's a DC 3-phase compressor, right? So you need to test it. We've got 120 in, we've got 9, we've got AC control voltage as well as DC control voltage coming to that inverter. That inverter is attached to the side of the compressor, right there at the fusible terminals. You like that? That's a good thing. Absolutely. Look at the profit margin there, right? So it's got, you can see we've got a screw right here, but we've also got a screw at the bottom of that inverter. So if you were one of your service technicians, if they would call you and say, hey, boss, I can't get this inverter off, you go to that lower screw, they're going to remove it, and that inverter lifts straight up, coming off the side of that compressor. At that point, of course, you would disconnect the wiring. There's a screw missing, and we would bring it over the right side of the compressor. Everybody know how to test that? Anybody interested in that? Get him over here. Sir? Absolutely. Yep, absolutely. So if you've ever done one, it's the same. Nothing's going to change. Take data sheet. Anybody here use them? Your service? Good job. This is other than the test mode. This is probably one of the most important things you can have on a job site with you. What's some of the information it gives us? I'm sorry?
Resistant readings?
Sometimes, but we can use Ohm's law and Power's law to figure that out, right?
It tells us what's DC and what's AC.
Right? What else?
How do we get into diagnostics?
How do you get into diagnostics?
It tells you how many evaporators it
It
has.
shows locations as well. So you go into diagnostics, let's say you're looking for you, maybe not. You know you're looking at your schematic, you need to get to a certain point, IM1, the ice maker's not working. Then it's telling us this is the front of the unit. So if I open this door, that IM1 connector is up here. And if I look over here to the right, there's IM3. I think I had to cut it short. You get the idea. Right here, here's NC1. I can look over there and I can see NC1 is a 10-pin connector. I can see NC1's location is going to be in the machine compartment, right? But sometimes we've got to know where to check. If we're losing power, we've got to determine where that point of loss is. So, it shows us the connectors to the location. It shows us a board view. So if I'm trying to get to that connector in the back of the machine compartment, and I need to know what is feeding that connector, or what is supplying it from the line side at that point, possibly, well, we'll be on the load side. And if it says I need to be at J4, I can go to J4 I can disconnect that circuit, I can go back to my machine department, and I can verify the integrity of that circuit if I have to. So it tells us where everything is at. This is very important information. Very important. Diagnostics. Fans are not running. We can go into diagnostics. We can check the door switches. Shoot power to it. Well, the fan's still not running. Do I have power coming from my board? If I do, then I lose it at the connector, yes.
Is this gonna drop power away if it sees the fan stalled, like a feedback? There's a feedback wire like the.
It's going to code.
Yeah.
It's going to code. Used to we had three wires, right? We had speed wire, a neutral wire, and a tack wire. So if that board was not, if that fan was not feeding back, hey, I'm turning it X RPM, right? You code. It's going to code. I think some of our noodles. James, do we have a tack wire? I don't think we do. I don't think we do. I could be wrong. My wife deals with that all the time. We can see we can get into the test mode. It tells us how to do it. It tells us when we get in there how to advance through the test or back up. How to activate it. And what we're testing. Test 53, water valve and main valve. Remember, we've got those two valves. They're going to operate simultaneously. Or we could just go to the main valve. So it tells us all this information. And I guess the slides could be in a little bit better order. Because if I was walking into your home and I was testing your appliance, I'm starting confused. What's going on? The consumer always thinks you do the problem. I don't care what anybody says. You've been running a business, you've been in the field for more than 10 or 15 years. That consumer is going to tell you the problem. And at that point, I'm going to utilize the equipment in this, and I'm going to locate that problem. Thank you. Performance data. Performance data. What's on the take line? Me and James are on the take line together for years. And people get calls all the time. Hey, they're just saying, these days people are concerned. Power's going up, price of gas is higher. And so the technicians were getting calls. Hey, this thing will never shut off. You walk in there, they have a little 10 pictures in there. And watch it. Feel that stop. Y'all seen that one? You heard of that one? You got to look at the performance data. We can see right here, no load, no door openings, control set at 37 and 0. When it shows us that, we can look right here, well, the operating time is at 55 degrees. It's right at 75%. So what's going to happen when we put a load in that unit and somebody actually starts opening the doors? It's going to run 100% of the time. Right? It's going to happen. It's just like the cars. I used to tell my customers, hey, you know what? You get better gas mileage going out the power. So it's easier and less expensive to keep it operating than to start and stop. Off-roading. Another thing I used to tell them, if they have a 60-watt bulb burning somewhere in the house, they're using more power than the unit. Because it tells us right there, 60 watts. These ambient temperatures. It's got great information. It's got our schematics. We wanted to test our sensor. We put it into the test. We have an OP. We have an SH. At that point, we know we've already looked at the board view. We can find it. We're not worried about the wire. Oh, there's 1,500 wires in here. What was on which? It's going to tell us. It's going to give us a location. We can go to J6 or J7, depending on which sensor we're looking at. We can open it out from that point. If it's not proper, we can move right on down the line, go to that next connector. We can find it. we've got the connector locations on our schematics, and we can test it from there, and we can work it all the way down through that circuit component. And if all of that's good, oh,
That, touch thermostat, that's gonna read open, shorted, or look at the temperature. This
Yes.
is, okay, so it's not just like a pass or fail test.
it is going to be open or short. That's it. I've never seen one fail any other way.
Gotcha, but it will show that actual temperature.
Yes, the sensor is going to read, that's what I was saying earlier,
Right.
if you're testing one, if we were to shoot it with an IR,
Yeah.
right? Our meter's reading real time. And if you have it in test mode, it's gonna be reading real time as well. There should be a real time correlation. Or you could stick it in water, right? Crushed ice and water, 32 degrees, you stick your thermometer in there, you confirm, yep, ice and water, going 32 degrees. And then we should be able to go into that test, and we should be right there at that point. If you've got that sensor in ice and water, and your thermometer's reading, you know it is, right? It's not gonna freeze, but it's gonna be up 33, 34 degrees, and this is reading 54. Where does that circuit start? Let's start right there. Any questions on any of this? Anybody? If you have any complaints today, it's Patrick got around and like that. So what we're gonna do now is we're actually gonna go into the test mode. If I can get some assistance up here. And I would like a participant. Somebody would kind of like to walk through it. Thank you so much.
Want to go for it, Mark?
Yeah. Everyone, just a moment. So we know, in order to put this into a test load, we talked about it earlier, this is going to be our location where we can clear errors or alerts. Set the temperatures, the set temperatures. We're going to go both the adjustment plus and minus simultaneously.
Can everybody see that?
How long it take?
As long as it takes, sir. Here, let's reset that. Yeah, just wake it up. There you go. So it should, all the LEDs should illuminate. There it is. So now, that is visual confirmation we're in the test mode, right? So we're gonna use that same, or the same two keys, plus and minus, we can navigate through these tests. We can go up or down. So if we press that plus key, right? We get a chart up here. Yeah, that is your defrost heater. But again, if it's 45 degrees, it's not even going to enter out. It's going to keep that circuit out. Some of them are going to walk right in. Let me get this up. See louder, you're talking over there. Go on.
In order to turn it on, you see right here above it, you'll see the indicator light showing that this is the button you actually got to turn on and it actually activates on. No other light is lit up on this, so the only one you're gonna do is hit it on and off to verify it functions.
keep brush solenoid, so we can test it, right? If we don't hear that click, then we know. I'm trying to pull up this back now, ladies and gentlemen. Anybody got Wi-Fi?
It's actually on my.
Is it?
Yeah. See it?
Yep, all right.
Number
Here we
12.
go, what test are we in?
Number 12.
Number 12. So 12 is our condenser fan. So once he's navigated to the condenser fan, you can activate it. Then you should be able to feel air.
We've got airflow.
Do what now?
We've got airflow.
We've got airflow, or you can visually see it if you have that back panel. We can confirm the operation. All right, so our next test, for instance, would be the dispenser valve and the main valve.
You can hear the valve energized.
You should be able to hear it. Yep. But watch, we don't get water, right? Render Johnson too. Render Johnson too. Test number 56 is the fresh food ice maker. It's the water valve and the main valve for the fresh food ice maker.
The valve energized.
Can you hear it?
72.
72. Defrost heater, fresh food ice maker. You would have to have an info valve, right? Or you could have your voltmeter.
You can see right there, it shows sensor reading also.
Right? 72. We know we would have 120, and if there was any down on the load, then that's when we would connect our amp probe.
Okay, so stop, once you hit off, it'll stop telling you that temperature reading.
Where we at? 72?
Hold on. Next one, we're going to test 82.
Number 82 is the freezer ice maker, water valve, and main valve.
Hello. Just the valve. Good valve run.
Yep.
So here's the question, y'all. If you ain't got water out of nothing, what's wrong with it? You run these tests and you ain't getting water off. What's wrong with it?
You're going to check water.
I hope you got water to the house.
Right. You know if there's ice in the front yard, right?
Number 10.
Number 10. Auger motor. So when you go into these test modes, it's a direct command. The door's open. We have a switch that's between a component, a load, fan, the auger motor that has to be closed in normal operation. We're just gonna buy it.
And just hold the switch.
So we can test that component. Get it?
It's off now.
Reach up there and operate that switch, let's see what we got.
You gotta get the switch, turn it off.
Is it turning?
Does anybody have that? I mean, it runs when the door's closed.
That's
We
all we
got
got.
one for y'all here, but it is running.
Absolutely. Because when we talked about it, remember when that door closes, we were going to complete that circuit. Here's the plan to show you that.
So it doesn't bypass door switch if you test on it.
It bypasses everything.
So it should run even with doors open, right?
Absolutely, as long as that switch is made. You can open the door as a technician, you can engage that circuit. You're good to go. In that case, yes, we would have to make that. Right.
82.
Yes. You do have to go through the most No, of course not.
Well, you have to have the door switch pressed in to get it to
Yeah, absolutely.
But the read, you can get away with it.
It's actually running in there, it's just kind of, or we don't have a light.
Other than that, what you can do, if you had that problem, make sure you didn't have a yearly for water, adjustment properly. At that point, I would put it into the test mode, make sure I had power coming from the board. If I had power being supplied, no field power.
Everybody see it now?
Yep.
Right.
Here you go, it works.
Right. Oh, you're fine. That's why we're here.
13,
Yes, 120 volts. We're completing the circuit. Put that on. 120 volts. It's gonna be on the purple wire, or the L1.
13 Mark.
13. Press the light.
Yep. We don't have any lights back there. Okay, any light back there.
Are there any questions? Does anybody else want to come up here and talk to us? Play with it? Look at it?
See this slide right here? See these two slides? Slide 2, slides right there, bottom, just snap it in.
No. That's what does it. You can't get it, you have your unit to tear down. To me, it's
See the
like,
lights work?
I wish I'd had this in the field. Where are we at, Nate?
Next test, going to number 15.
Evaporator, fan motor, freezer. Remember, we have a switch involved. We're not gonna reach over and roll that switch. We should be able to go into the test mode, and that fan should be operating. It's gonna show us on or off.
Speeds,
Yep.
high speed.
If you see right here, it says off. You hit the button the first time, it says NL. I don't like white when it did. That's actually low speed, medium speed.
Is it right?
Yes, it's running.
You don't have to make the switch down there, do you?
No.
Absolutely not. You're gonna cycle through it, you're gonna open the doors, you're running or not, your techs are going to love it. I'm sure that other manufacturers don't have contracts with who work. As testing other. Are we right on that?
20.
The switcher having class,
These are lights. I'm sorry?
The switcher having class,
Not that I'm aware of. Of course, they don't call me every time they make a decision. We're going through this interface right here. How it's going to operate.
Switched over at the
I
bottom.
was reading in a couple of, yeah, the little panels, and, once you've been in the field for a long time, approach that here. What's going on?
You'll see here.
Right.
There's a lot of testing.
38,
38, compressor, right?
that is VCC compressor. If you, has a TSC compressor. And, it will show you on the schematic. This is a 2-speed compressor. Okay? So,
a little slow, and there we go.
you should be able to put it on high.
Now, just to let y'all know too, if the customer complains saying this thing makes a noise, or it's a real noise when it's operating, you run that test right there and just turn it on and ask the customer, hey, is this the noise you used to hear about? If it ramps up to high speed, it may be the acoustics in the home causing the problem, and it may not be a problem in the unit.
If it's built in, you've got a R4, put it in an echo chamber, and they're gonna hear it. Nothing inside. 47 IC DC heater, you should be able to feel if the temperature rises. I had a consumer one time. I didn't realize how rich she was until I got there. She called me up and I said, yes, ma'am, this is Mark from General Electric. I'm calling about the washing machine.
62.
62. Pressure ice maker evaporator fan motor. And I said, okay, about 15 minutes out, what I'd like you to do was, I quizzed her, would you make this noise? Oh, and I've got my load in it. I said, you got already put your clothes in it, started? And that load starts, I'll lift the lid, I'll just stop, I'll be there in about 15 minutes. All right, so the next test is, 63, Evaporator DC heater. You should be able to turn it on, you fill it, if you had an IR, temperature infrared, you'd be able to fill it. So I get to her house, she's done exactly what I'd asked her. You give it full of water, she lifted the lid. And I said, ma'am, I'm going to initiate this, I'm gonna start this washer. When you hear that noise, I want you to tell me when you hear it. As soon as I shut that lid and engage that switch, that's it. Oh, her amazing, look at all that. People are gonna hear different things, you know what I mean? What people might be normal. Where we at, guys? 66 is dispenser light. 67 is the fresh food filter heater. These heaters are built into the liner to both ice makers. If you have a filter food freezing, you want to make sure your water pressure is proper. It's probably going to be to tell that. If that's good, we would go into our test mode. We would confirm voltage from our software. If we have it there, then at that point, we just simply on out the rest of the circuit, right? If we don't have voltage, we're telling it, give me power through the control board. Y'all see the benefits of this? It's awesome.
94.
94 is going to be the freezer filter heater. I think the resistance on that circuit is 3,800 ohms.
If the 94 on that well tube, is it replaceable?
Only if you know a fireman that draws a lot.
No.
You are not going to go in that cabinet and replace it.
It's under warranty,
You
yes.
want to call tech line, right?
If you got a failed side meter, you call take line meter under warranty. Out of warranty?
You can get it for them, but I'll ask for the credit card first. Bridget, right? Well, you know, they have the reasons, absolutely. 22, fresh food damper loader. So at this point, when he goes into test 22, that fan should run automatically in the freezer, right? So we're pressurizing that point. The duct,
It's on 1 right now.
and we should be able to fill air. What about the bottom, if you pull one of those shells out? Both of those dampers should open. They should both open. This is our test. You feel it? Let's go. So that will tell us, like I said, we got dual dampers in here, right?
Should be closed. Closed.
Closed. So it is operational.
And if you see it says closed, it's closed.
It's telling us what it's doing. The test sheet is telling us what it should be doing.
It just says 1 because it's over 1. One lighting means to go to action.
And then when it gets to the position, it'll tell you what's in.
Next test. 36.
I should door and flapper loader. So we should be able to test that flapper loader. gonna do 1 or 2 more tests.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna. Let y'all go get some water, some coffee. Next test.
Next test is 50.
Makes good ice maker harvesting. There's almost nothing on this unit that we can't test. If your tape comes back in and says, I can't find it, right? Why? It's taking you to the issue. Sorry. Back. Very bad.
Once it's done, it says go.
Alright, test 50?
Yeah, that's what it is. The 78. That's the bucket switch test.
Yes.
All right,
Ice level bucket.
this one. When you run the test plate for you, see the arm on the inside right there? Take that arm and you hold the bucket up, it'll say F2 in front of the plate. You hold the arm up.
Now, this is a beneficial sequence because we can test these ice maker functions.
Leave it up. Now watch that, he's holding an arm up. So you're gonna see on the front when it goes through, see how it says FU? That not adding dirty words, so it ain't that, it just says full bucket, because you're checking the bail arm in up position.
But y'all don't ever see
All
ice
engineer
makers.
designed it, so I was like, why are you saying that?
Y'all don't ever see ice makers do it. That's not what the place over here.
They won't, it's always in that position.
Rare.
Watch
It is the gorilla in the room.
Got to restart.
Let it go, go right back in it, now leave it in down position, don't move it in there, let it go, it'll say EM again, which means it's empty.
I'm sorry. Well, the consumer has to know what to expect. So, in the use of care manual, and that's where a lot of technicians use it. So the consumer says, well, I've got to get some ice. I'm out of ice. I've got to go to the store and get some ice. Well, they might be out. I used to go to people's houses and I say, show me your ice. You know, they got ice. They don't care what this
Empty.
university, South Florida, takes 4 days, 3 days to build these. You can't. There's expectations to be way too high.
88.
Number 88 is freezer ice maker bail arm, ice level bucket. So look at that arm's gonna move, it's testing on whether or not we've got ice in it or not. Yes.
That's the freezer right there.
Yeah, we gotta go to the freezer, guys.
Yeah, the freezer.
We're twisting.
You can hold that.
Yeah, reach in there and hold that bell
No arm on it. Get up in here.
So if you drop free all the way down, you can get an EM on the display for empty. And of course, when you hold it, it's gonna have the frame university or FU on the display telling you that it's recognizing that switch. Y'all see the benefits? Yes, sir.
Had a flex tray, ice maker, on years time with the resistor, wiring.
Go off. Okay.
Broke, shorted itself, got the control board in UI, is that still something that would happen?
This is gonna be low voltage. What you were talking about, some of the earlier models, they were 120. Yeah, don't reach up there and grab that thing. No. You go in sleepy, you come out wide awake.
That was my,
Oh, did you grab it? You gotta be careful. It is 120, so when you looked at the schematic, of course, it makes a complete path all the way back to the board. So when you have a short, it's running right down the line to the board. You take it out every time. So that hasn't changed. On later models, we did actually put a reed switch, remember, up in the cover, to where unless that bucket was in there, that circuit was not closed. Right. Right, that's right, good guy.
Good.
Yeah,
Now, how do you get that test number?
thank you, Keith. Or give it 10 minutes and it's just gonna walk out. And that's the worst feeling, to keep 20 miles down the road. Oh! Man, it's only 400 pounds. You can't pull it out, don't plug it.
So you don't have to.
Gotta go back.
Test every component, you just want to get to see where you actually got a failure. And once you get that test done, you can actually hold the two buttons at that test button and get it out.
So you see the benefits of it. That's gonna help your techs. It's one of the most powerful tools that you can have. I want to thank everybody for being here, spending your time with us today. It's been a pleasure. I hope y'all enjoy the rest of your ASCII visit. We have some more classes coming up. Matt's going to be teaching on one of our Electrolux dishwashers. We've also got an induction range. And we've got a truck control gas. We would love to have y'all participation on that as well. If we can ever help y'all, reach out. We want, that's why we're here. So, yes, sir. I want you to write this down.
Oh, yeah.
Tips.assist at electrolux.com. Tips, T-I-P-S.assist at electrolux.com.
Communication.
You have a question, I want you to send in that question. Go back. That's on the inside.